Rogers Dab Chevrolet was just a regular car dealership here in Brandon, Mississippi, and about 10 years ago we started branching off with our parts department, and we became one of the top 3 largest parts departments for powertrain, for engines and transmissions in the country. So in doing so, why not support the industry that supports the most powertrain, which is your performance engines and racing? And there's a need there that was not being filled. There was a customer base that was not being taken care of.
We keep the sealed crate motors in stock, the 602, the 604s, the 525s. Whether you're driving a late model or a modified or a street stock, we've got an engine for your car. We also carry the accessory kits, KRC drives. We also do Gary Williams carburetors. We've been in this for a couple years now, and we're doing it to benefit the racers.
Everyone is trying to get into racing, knows that it's not a cheap sport to get into. So price structure was a big thing in taking care of the racers, and we knew early on that we did not want to make this a profit center. We wanted to make it about the racers. Price is a big thing. However, customer service is where it's at. And we've had several instances where racetracks have called us and said, hey, we had a driver out here qualifying and their engine popped. And it's Friday night at 9 o'clock, and our team, Benny and Ryan, are calling me and saying, hey boss, we need to take care of this race car driver. Let's get them an engine as soon as possible. And they'll be here before sunrise the next morning on Saturday morning, pulling that engine, getting it to that person so they can get it installed and be racing that night. That's the kind of customer service we want to deliver.
The following is a special presentation of Crate Racin USA, America's leader in racing. This is Crate Racin USA Live.
They're side by side. The top 2 of the points are 4th and 5th right now. Here comes Jimmy Thomas. We're back underway out of turn 4. 13 circuits to go around the Talladega short track, and we now have ourselves a battle for the lead. Out of turn number 4, Jeremy Steele wins the Turkey 100. This is America's leader in racing, the Rogers Dab Performance Parts Crate Racing USA Dirt Late Model Series 4 wide.
And now your host, Cody Earley.
Well, hello there again, and welcome to Crate Racing USA Live. It is episode number 8. Hello, everyone. My name is Cody Earley. Glad to be with you, as always, ready for another great episode tonight. On the show, we'll chat with the voice of Windy Hollow Speedway, Blake Smith, as the Bluegrass State gets ready to welcome the Slingin Dirt Super Late Models. We'll find out everything that Windy Hollow Speedway's got going on, one of the 30 sanctioned tracks across the United States under the Crate Racing USA brand. We'll talk to Blake about everything going on at Windy Hollow, his announcing career, and what all he has going on. Plus, tonight, guest number 2, the man behind the MatMan Designs madness. That is Chad Harrington. Man, oh man, all of a sudden you see MatMan Designs not only in the dirt world, in the business world, and now you could find it in the NASCAR world. We'll talk with Chad. We'll get the backstory about how it all began and, well, his career in motorsports that started at a very young age. We'll chat with him coming up a little bit later on in the show. But as we always get started, we open it up with what happened last week. Last week being the Mother's Day weekend, it was week number 11 of Crate Racing USA National Points Competition, and man, oh man, it was Mother's Day weekend. Unfortunately, Mother Nature celebrated the weekend as well, and it started on Friday night with these tracks unable to get their racing in. Baton Rouge Raceway, Hattiesburg Speedway, and of course Pike County Speedway. They were supposed to have a 2-night weekend with the GOAT of limited mods. For the second time this year, it got rained out, and this time it got canceled. So unfortunately, Pike County not going to be able to have that event. Hattiesburg Speedway getting rained out affected the Mississippi Crate Late Racing Series. Well, they got rained out on Friday, and unfortunately, that carried over into Saturday. We'll talk about that coming up. One of the tracks that did get underway on Friday night was Super B Speedway down in Chatham, Louisiana. It was one of the tracks that saw racing, and indeed, they saw more than that. They saw powder puff racing and even a lawnmower rodeo on Friday night, and it was Bubba Mullins of West Monroe, Louisiana, picking up the Crate Racing USA Dirt Late Model win. The voice of Super B Speedway, Colin Bell, brings him to the checkered flag.
The white flag in the air for the 9X of Bubba Mullins with a 1.4 second cushion. may have a battle here for third before we get to the checkers. The 6 of Patton really finding some momentum on the top of the racetrack. And he's going to close after the 3 of Treywick here in 3 and 4, going to the top shelf. The checkered flag will wave. The 9X of Mullins going to get the victory.
On Saturday night, Mother Nature, well, she decided she wanted to celebrate the weekend again with a long list of racetracks unfortunately having to cancel their racing program. The monster trucks at East Alabama Motor Speedway, well, they're postponed. They got a new date. We'll talk about that coming up. Jackson Motor Speedway rained out. Mitchell's Motorsplex, they were supposed to host night number 2 of the Mississippi Crate Late Racing Series. They had their night rained out as well, so both of the events for the Mississippi Crate Late Racing Series this past weekend were rained out. Southern Raceway, it was supposed to be Mom's Night down in Milton, Florida, and they had that ladies powder puff race scheduled. Unfortunately, Mother Nature had to cancel that. Cedar Ridge Speedway, however, in Morgantown, Kentucky, did have racing on Saturday night. They had a 1,500 to win open wheel modified special, but in the Crate Racing USA Street Stocks, it was Jeff Macy of Owensboro, Kentucky, getting the win. Hendry County Motorsports Park in Clewiston, Florida, had racing on Saturday night, but no CRUSA action this past weekend. The Magnolia Motor Speedway, well, they had all 4 divisions in action. One of the busiest tracks of the weekend. It was Brett White out of Mississippi picking up the win in the Crate Racing USA Late Model Sportsman Division. Parker Price out of Columbus, Mississippi defended the home turf. He got the win in the Modified Sportsman. And Shelby Sheedy out of French Camp, Mississippi, he picked up the victory in the Crate Racing USA Street Stocks. But out of Decatur, Mississippi, it was Chris McElhenney going to victory lane in the Dirt Late Models. Here is the voice of Magnolia Motor Speedway, Ross Tingle.
But Chris McElhenney, right now the man out front has led them off. He's coming to the white flag this time by for the 27 car McElhenney. The MD Metals 27, Chris McElhenney. He comes through 3 off of 4. He's looking at the checkered flag this time. He'll win it. Chris McElhenney.
And at North Alabama Speedway, the Tri-State Mod Series was in action. Alongside of the Crate Racing USA Late Model Sportsman, it was Billy Flanagan picking up the checkered flag again at his home track in Tuscumbia, Alabama. Mother Nature shortened a lot of racing schedules last weekend, but there was still a lot of good racing across the Mother's Day weekend, and I hope all you moms had a terrific weekend last weekend. We've got our fingers crossed. Mother Nature's going to be a lot nicer as we get ready to roll into Week 12 because we have a full slate of racing action across the Crate Racing USA brand. When it comes to sanctioned tracks this weekend, there is a lot of racing to talk about when we get ready to close up the show a little bit later on. I remind you, if you haven't got your Crate Racing USA membership, make sure to do that. Go to CrateRacingUSA.com. You'll see all the information, or you can go to My Race Pass and type in Crate Racing USA, and you can get your membership and compete at 30 tracks across the Southeast and gain those national points. By the way, those national points now out. They come out today. There was a change at the top of the Dirt Late Model national points. You'll have to check that out. Go to CrateRacingUSA.com. We get you set up for our very first guest of episode number 8, Blake Smith from Windy Hollow Speedway. He joins us coming up next. You're listening to Crate Racing USA Live.
Crate Racing USA Live will return after this commercial break.
When performance matters, champions choose Hoosier Racing Tires. As the largest race tire manufacturer in the world, Hoosier produces over 1,000 different types of race tires, engineered for speed, precision, and winning results. With cutting-edge technology like a 300-mile-per-hour test wheel, a state-of-the-art production facility, and advanced mixing plant, Hoosier continues to lead the way in racing innovation worldwide. Hoosier Racing Tires. We fuel passion, pride, and success with our tires designed for champions. Order today at HoosierTire.com or call 574-784-3152. Hoosier Racing Tires. Tires designed for champions.
Racers are dedicated to winning. And Chevrolet Performance's 3 factory-sealed circle track crate engines can help you get to the checkered flag first. Whether you're a weekend warrior or a touring hero, on dirt or pavement, Chevrolet Performance circle track crate engines are engineered to win. Right out of the box.
far as I can remember, my dad was always buying VP fuel. And then once I got to a certain level of racing where I was good enough, I was sponsored by VP, and I believe VP my whole entire career is what I ran with at Mitch's at Pro Circuit, and then also factory Kawasaki. So very reliable fuel, makes good power, and you can relatively get it anywhere. So that's the beauty of VP, is always supporting our sport and making sure that we all have fuel to go racing.
In racing, every edge matters. Next Racing Wheels may be new to the scene, but behind the name is over 35 years of innovation from Taylor TJ Weld. Built with 100% CNC precision, Next Wheels feature a one-piece center, bolted outer half, and an O-ring seal, eliminating leaks and weak points. And with bead screw technology, you get superior tire retention without the hassle of bead locks. Stronger, lighter, built to handle the abuse while reducing deflection for better traction and balance. Plus, the bolt-together design means faster repairs and more money in your pocket. Innovation, performance, value. Check us out at nextracingwheels.com or find us on Instagram. Next Racing Wheels. The future is next.
Feel the thunder. Experience the heart-pounding action of Crate Racing USA from dirt tracks across the South. Catch every lap, every pass,
3 wide, just momentarily for the
every victory with Crate Racing USA TV.
Modified main event on this Friday night.
Watch live events or dive into on-demand replays anytime. Whether it's a single night shootout or a full weekend of racing, you're in control. Never miss a moment. Watch from anywhere. Visit CrateRacingUSA.tv now for upcoming events and full race replays. Crate Racing USA TV, America's leader in racing.
The biggest street stock event in the country is back August 12th through the 15th. The Southern Street Stock Nationals returns to the House of Hook at Wynot Motorsports Park in Meridian, Mississippi. It's a must-see weekend with the best CRUSA street stock drivers in the country coming to the house that Rodney built. Mark your calendars, August 12th through the 15th at Wynot Motorsports Park. Welcome back to Crate Racing USA Live. We got our first guest on the line. You might have heard his voice a few times, recapping some of the races at Windy Hollow Speedway here on the show. I got the voice of Windy Hollow Speedway, Blake Smith, with me. Blake, thanks for being with us, buddy.
Okay, Cody, thanks so much for the opportunity to be on the show today. And it's a great thing, of a great racing going on in Owensboro, and I'm always excited to have the opportunity to talk about it.
Well, man, speaking of great racing, this weekend, the Slingin Dirt Super Late Models come to town on the 3/8 mile Windy Hollow Speedway. Super Late Models in a bull ring. That just kind of sounds like my kind of night.
It's going to be a good show, Cody. I just talked with DJ Smallwood about the upcoming event, expecting 20-plus Slingin Dirt Super Late Model cars. This was going to be their third event on the schedule, but Mother Nature decided to rain on the parade for the second one, so they got one race in at Brownstown back in March, and they'll be racing this weekend here at Windy Hollow Speedway in Owensboro.
And not the only Super Late Model event of the year, but like a lot of other tracks, you have them once, twice, maybe 3 times a year. So definitely something that the fans, if they like Super Late Models, be out there on Saturday, right?
That's right. We got the great folks, Slingin Dirt Super Late Model Series. They're going to be there this Saturday. Got a couple other touring series during the 2026 season, but it's going to be a great weekend. And, of course, we're also going to have our usual suspects out there as well, CRUSA Street Stocks, our Rusty Bolts, Bombers, Mini Stocks, Crown Vics, Junior Crown Vics. I don't know about around the country, but in this area, Cody, Crown Vic racing has took off.
It has here in the South too. And it's, I've joked with people in the past on the show, when it comes to street stocks and factory stocks, that might be some of the best racing right now. But I tell you what, these Crown Vic guys, originally when they first went on the racetrack, it was kind of like, oh boy, here we go. What have we got our hands on? But these guys now, they're 3-4 wide. They put on great shows.
They are, and the thing that I've learned about it, Cody, is these things can take a licking and keep on ticking. It's hard to tear these things up, and they're pretty stock, so not much work to be done to them. It really puts it in the driver's hands, and they say that driving a Crown Vic's like not driving anything else. And we've got a lot of drivers who've raced them in these series, and they're big fans of the Crown Vics. But glad to hear it's taken off around the entire South.
We're talking with the voice of Windy Hollow Speedway, Blake Smith. They've got the Slingin Dirt Super Late Models coming to town this Saturday night. Another thing with the Crown Vics, too, that I appreciate is when they spin out, most of the time they stay in the gas, finish their 360, and pick back up, unlike some of our other divisions who completely stop.
That they do. They can take a spin and keep on going. Of course, they say those things are like driving your car on the road. They're so stuck to the ground, so that's a good thing. But, yeah, you and I both as announcers like to see a race continue because sometimes cautions can make things a little bit better, but sometimes it draws things out, depending on what series and what race you're watching.
100%. That is for sure. We're talking with Blake Smith from Windy Hollow Speedway. Well, Blake, kind of tell us about yourself. You're the voice at Windy Hollow Speedway, but you got a lot of stuff going on. Kind of take us through your journey. What brings you to Windy Hollow? What kind of got you into the announcing side of things? Kind of tell us your story.
I grew up a huge NASCAR fan, which I still am. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But I grew up around racing. And, of course, Owensboro is big in racing with the Waltrip brothers, the Green brothers, Jeremy Mayfield, is big in NASCAR, too. We used to have Kentucky Motor Speedway up in Whitesville, which is currently shut down. But, yeah, I got my start back when I was 14 years old at Windy Hollow Dragway, which is a drag strip next door to the Windy Hollow Speedway. Both are still in action. Like we mentioned, Speedway this weekend, drag strip. Going to have that Friday night as well. I've been there off and on announcing, like I said, since I was 14, so 23 years now, off and on racing. And it's home. It's where I like to call home. And, when you find a place you can call home, it's hard to leave.
Most definitely, and that is very, very true. Away from the racetrack, I've seen pictures of you at the Grand Ole Opry. I've seen you with a lot of NASCAR folks. What's the normal day-to-day operations for Blake Smith?
Well, if you ask anybody I know, they tell you it's too much. But, I like to stay busy. It keeps me out of trouble, so to say. But, you can spend as much time promoting and publicizing a racetrack as you want to. And so you do that a lot with a Speedway. Like you mentioned, Grand Ole Opry just coming back from Nashville today. Made a stop down there for the trophy unveiling for the Gibson Garage for the Cracker Barrel 400. Of course, a great tie for Owensboro there this year with a Rising Star contest for the opening, for the concert for the Cracker Barrel 400. Owensboro's own Yellow Banks is going to be there. So I was there with those guys today, going to be opening the Cracker Barrel 400. So went down there, made a couple stops in Nashville. Like you mentioned, it's hard to go through Music City and not make a stop there on the Briley Parkway at the Grand Ole Opry. So stopped and made a visit. Love classic country music. Also, we've got 8 radio stations here in Owensboro that I work at, and one of those being a classic country station. So I love working there. And, it stays busy between that. During the wintertime, I've picked up basketball MC announcing, so that's a little different. And I can tell you that it's a lot easier to follow race cars with 4 wheels brightly colored on a racetrack than it is a basketball.
That is 100% true. And I also realized too, when I first got started, I did the sports stuff. And then later on, I kind of stepped away from sports and kind of completely got away from everything but the radio stuff. I did that for a while. And then I got sucked into RC cars. Well, let me just tell you, trying to announce a super late model running a 14-second lap is one thing, but an RC car doing a 3-second lap and trying to keep up with it is a totally different monster. I was super excited to get back into big cars that I could actually keep up with.
Well, you bring that up. A couple of years ago, I got into some off-season slot car racing, and we had the Flexi Series right down the road here in Livermore, about 15 minutes outside of Owensboro. And I had the chance to call the Flexi race, and you're right. Talk about fast and trying to keep up with those things. It's a whole different monster. I'm very glad to be back on the big track after that.
We're talking with Blake Smith, the voice of Windy Hollow Speedway, as they get ready to welcome the Slingin Dirt Super Late Models this weekend and a big month of May. Blake, and I was looking at this, you got the Super Late Models this weekend. Next weekend, you've got, and it's cool to have one of these, but you've got both of these next weekend. You're racing Friday and Saturday, but on Friday night, you got the big rigs in town and the American Sprint cars all in one night.
Well, that's actually, that's going to be Saturday. Going to be Saturday out there at the Speedway on the 23rd. And then on the 24th, we'll do some racing. The sprint cars are going to stick around and run there on Sunday with us. So, double header weekend for the American Sprint Car Tour at Windy Hollow Saturday and Sunday. But for the first time that in Western Kentucky, the American Big Rig Series coming to Windy Hollow Speedway, you're used to seeing, smoke out there. It's usually white smoke, but this time we're going to see some diesel smoke. And man, some of the stuff that I've seen coverage from other races, it's going to be an awesome event and something never before seen here in Owensboro with the American Big Rig Series. Can't thank our great friends and great partners at the Owensboro Convention and Visitors Bureau. Visit Owensboro coming on board to help bring this program to Owensboro. It's got a lot of excitement, and I think it's going to be a show that a lot of people are going to come out and see. We've even brought in some extra bleachers for our big month of May. I feel like we're talking IndyCar, Cody, when we talk about month of May, but it's a big month of May in Owensboro. Like you mentioned, the Slingin Dirt Super Late Models this weekend. We also have the American Sprint Car Tour and the American Big Rig Series next weekend. It really is an action-packed weekend. I can't say enough great things about the work that Trevor Hutchins and Misty Westerfield have put in out there at Windy Hollow Speedway, Windy Hollow Dragway. They are only the second owners of that property. It had been in the Miller family up until over the off season. That track was purchased by Trevor and Misty. They'd been long-time lessees of the track, but had the opportunity to get that from the Miller family, and they've done a lot of work to it. We've got a wall all the way around Windy Hollow Speedway now. We got a catch fence all the way around Windy Hollow Speedway. We've got new bleachers being brought in. If you haven't been to Windy Hollow, even in the last 2 or 3 years, you definitely need to make the trip, and the month of May is going to be the perfect chance.
Yeah, and a lot of great racing. And, you think big rigs are big on the highway. Wait till you see one ripping around a dirt track. That is just insane being able to see them. They were actually down at the Talladega Short Track a few weeks ago and just put on an amazing show. So big rigs and sprint cars all in one weekend. That right there, that's Memorial Day weekend, right? As best as you can do it at a dirt track.
That's right. They're doing it up big. And we're also going to have a chance. Our good friends at the Cromwell Media Station is going to be in town on Friday. We're going to have a remote broadcast on Friday night to kind of introduce the drivers to the fans. Can stop by and see those big rigs, also some sprint cars here at the O'Reilly Auto Parts in Owensboro. So I have kind of a meet and greet, your chance to win tickets to the event to kind of kick off the big weekend of May. Like I said, it's a big racing weekend for Memorial Day, but we're really doing it big here in Owensboro at Windy Hollow Speedway as well.
We're talking with Blake Smith from Windy Hollow Speedway. Of course, one of the 30 sanctioned tracks across the Southeast. Of course, the Crate Racing USA Street Stocks are the sanctioned division that's up there. And a division, and I've said this, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, man, these street stocks, I love my late model racing, but when it comes to street stocks, they put on some of the best shows.
They really do. We've got a great field of cars out at the CRUSA Street Stocks at Windy Hollow Speedway. Names such as, Tyler Nicely's been in a couple of times this year. Matt Kelly as well. Nick Brooks been putting on a great show. You've got Chase Estes in the 71. And those are just drivers from Owensboro, not including those folks that make the trip to race in Owensboro. Had a great companion event just a couple of weeks ago with our good friends down at Paducah Raceway with the Jerry Gilkey Memorial. I believe they had close to 80 street stocks. We had a good number, about 20 of those show up for some Sunday night racing from all over the country. And street stocks bring big names. They also bring big fan counts, and we love to see both here at Windy Hollow Speedway.
Well, folks that are listening that are looking to maybe make a trip up to Owensboro, Kentucky, you guys got a full schedule laid out, some really cool stuff. I've seen a lot of different divisions coming to town. You mentioned Super Late Models this weekend. You got the Hell Tour comes June 28th. That's always a big fun time. Those guys are on the road for a whole month straight, I feel like. You guys have got some great events coming up. Where could folks find information? What do they need to do to see what all's going on at Windy Hollow Speedway?
Give us a follow on Facebook at Windy Hollow Speedway, also next door at Windy Hollow Dragway, or get on our website at whspeedway.com. You can get on there. You can buy your tickets before you get there. Don't have to worry about standing in line to get those tickets at the gate. We've got your chance with the My Race Pass app. So, Windy Hollow Speedway on Facebook and whspeedway.com.
I did want to mention, too, when it comes to the street stocks, you guys have a big event coming up in September, and the street stocks highlight that weekend, a pair of racing programs that weekend as well.
That's right, the Bluegrass Street Stock Wars coming to Windy Hollow Speedway the weekend of Labor Day. Going to be a huge show. We've already got one driver locked in. That's Chad Boone, taking home the win just a couple weeks ago in our big street stock race presented by Kelly Trucking. So he's got a provisional if he needs it in that Tyler Nicely racing machine. So yeah, it's going to be a big show. We look forward to having all the street stock racers from around the country, the Southeast, to come to Windy Hollow Speedway. So go ahead and mark your calendars now for that weekend for the Bluegrass Street Stock Wars.
A lot of fun stuff, too. They got monster trucks, 410 sprint cars later in the year, a lot of good weekly racing, and a lot of big events all season long. Blake, man, we appreciate you giving us just a little bit of your time. I know you got a busy schedule like most do this time of year, but we appreciate you giving us a little bit of that time to talk about the stuff going on at Windy Hollow Speedway.
Thank you, Cody. I appreciate the opportunity. And shameless plug here, follow Let's Talk Racing on Facebook. That's my radio show. We'll be live tonight at O'Brien's Bar and Grill in Owensboro. We cover all things regional, national, and locally. It's Let's Talk Racing on Owensboro's home for NASCAR, WVJS.
All right, buddy. We appreciate it. Coming up, we're going to talk about the touring side of things, the 602 Tour. They headline the weekend. We'll talk about them heading to Why Not coming up Saturday night. You're listening to Crate Racing USA Live.
Crate Racing USA Live will return after this commercial break.
Need speed? Need parts? Need results? Head to Knowles Race Parts and Bodies in Rome, Georgia. Your one-stop shop for everything racing. From a full line of race parts, shock and setup services, to VP Racing fuels and lubricants, Hoosier Racing tires, and Chevrolet Performance Circle Track engines, Knowles has what it takes to get you to victory lane. Plus, with many parts in stock, you won't be waiting when it matters most. Have questions? They've got answers and the experience to back it up. Remember, Knowles knows race parts and bodies. Call 678-414-4655 or email cdkknowles66@hotmail.com today.
Need reliable equipment to power your next project? Westpro JCB has you covered. From durable mini excavators to cutting-edge teleskids, we offer solutions that deliver performance and precision. Visit westprojcb.com today and upgrade your fleet with machines you can trust.
It's time to level up your collection at Columbus Sports Cards. We're talking sports cards, Pokemon cards, and must-have sports memorabilia. Buy, sell, or trade it all in one place. Pulling heat, chasing legends, and stacking your best collection starts here. 5880 Veterans Parkway in Columbus, Georgia. 706-507-9277. Catch the action live on Whatnot and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and eBay. Open Monday through Friday 10 till 7 and Saturdays 10 to 3. Columbus Sports Cards.
Looking for the ultimate racing getaway? Then pack your bags and join us for the 28th annual Cruise with the Champions, January 17th through the 23rd, 2027. Set sail on the beautiful Carnival Vista for a 6-day Eastern Caribbean adventure featuring stops at Amber Cove, Half Moon Key, and Celebration Key. This is your chance to relax, connect, and hang out with your racing family away from the track. But listen up. Cabins are limited, and if you want to be close to your crew, you need to get that deposit in now. Got a Carnival code? Be sure to let us know, and always compare pricing to get the best deal. Interior, ocean view, and balcony rooms are available, but they won't last long. Got questions? Call or text 678-414-6970 today. Cruise with the Champions, where racing meets paradise.
Race fans have a home on Speed Sport 1. Feel the roar of IHRA Outlaw Nitro Series. Experience the power of American muscle with the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Speed Sport 1 has a wide variety of motorsports competition that will satisfy your inner racer. From IMCA Dirt Track action to Ferrari Challenge North America. Speed Sport 1 is 24/7. Go to speedsport1.com for details and viewing options.
Did you know that your Crate Racing USA membership gets you 5% off every purchase with Velocito by Melissa Markowitz? Well, you do now. They have everything from custom-measured suits to gloves, Zamp helmets, and some very cool swag. Find Velocita by Melissa Markowitz on Facebook and get your order in today. And make sure you mention your Crate Racing USA membership. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Crate Racing USA Live. My name is Cody Earley. Well, we dive into the touring side of things. Well, this weekend, the Rogers Dabbs Performance Parts Crate Racing USA Dirt Late Model Series will once again set idle in preparation for the return to the All-Tech Raceway next weekend. The series will be in action on Saturday night, May the 23rd. It is a one-day $10,000 to win. They'll be joined, of course, by the Street Stocks and the Crown Vics down at the Big Speed Palace in Lake City, Florida. The Rogers Dabbs Performance Parts Crate Racing USA Dirt Late Model Series will get ready for round 4 of the 2026 season next weekend. Practice will be held on Friday night and, of course, the racing itself on Saturday. Get all the details. You can go to CrateRacingUSA.com or check out the All-Tech Raceway's Facebook page. This weekend, all the eyes will be on the Crate Racing USA Late Model Sportsman Tour. They return to the House of Hook, Why Not Motorsports Park. It is race number 2. It has been a long time since the series opened at Needmore Speedway back during the Southern Heritage Classic. Mark Whitener won that event. He still sets atop of the point standings with Colton Herbert in second, Trent Ivey third, Austin Yarborough fourth, and Jay Cohen rounding out your top 5. Then it's Luke Clements, Braden Johnson, Griffin Jones, Dustin Harris, and Caleb Ashby would be the top 10 in points. This weekend, it's the return to the House of Hook. Only the second time in series history that the 602 Tour has made its way to Why Not Motorsports Park. The inaugural season back in 2024, that's when the very first visit happened, and a driver that put his name on the list, and the only time he's got his name is on the list, is Tyler Burgess. He won that event. That was back on May the 4th of 2024. He beat Josh Parkerson and Dillard Hatchett to the checkered flag that night in that Why Not feature. Saturday night's feature will pay $2,000 to win, and it was announced yesterday. If you can't make it, you can watch it live on Crate Racing USA TV. That's right. Crate Racing USA TV will have the live broadcast this weekend. You'll be able to watch all the action that's going to be coming from the Why Not Motorsports Park. And man, this track right here, I just grit each time I think about an event being here. The 602s will be on the racing surface coming up on Saturday. They'll have a lot of great racing action to go along with them at the House of Hook over there in Meridian, Mississippi. So make sure you get out there and support that event. If you got a 602 late model and you want to get out and race, well, Why Not Motorsports Park this weekend? They'll have in action the CRUSA late models, the CRUSA street stocks, open wheel modifieds, factory stocks, the SCDRA front wheel drives, and Crown Vics will all be a part of the racing weekend. They'll have the pit gates open at 1, the grandstand at 4. They'll have the drivers meeting set for 6:30, and then it is time to go racing for round number 2 of the Rogers Dabbs Performance Parts Crate Racing USA Late Model Sportsman Tour coming up on Saturday night from the House of Hook. Always a cool time. And as I mentioned, Crate Racing USA TV will have your coverage. You want to watch it Saturday night? Just simply go to your web browser and type in CrateRacingUSA.tv. That's CrateRacingUSA.tv. And if you can't make it to the House of Hook on Saturday night, you can watch it live on Crate Racing USA TV. Well, coming up, our second guest on the show, the man behind the MatMan designs. That is the MatMan himself, Chad Harrington. He'll join us coming up. You're listening to Crate Racing USA Live.
Crate Racing USA Live will return after this commercial break.
I'm Matt Williamson. And you know, the thing with the VP Racing oil is we trusted the fuel for so many years that it was easy to switch to the oil, and we're glad we did. The stuff is phenomenal. It's the best oil out there, and we have all the confidence in the world in every fluid we run on the race car because it comes from VP.
VP Fuel and Lubricants is the only oil and lubricants that we use in our 3-car program, and it's the only one we trust for that.
When it comes to race day safety, don't take chances. The Fire Suit Lady has you covered. Velocita by Melissa Markowitz is your go-to source for top quality safety gear, including SFI certified suits, gloves, shoes, and head and neck restraints, plus the latest 2025 Snell-rated ZAMP helmets. Whether you're gearing up for the first time or upgrading your equipment, Melissa will make sure you get the right fit and the right protection. Trust experience. Trust safety. Velocita by Melissa Markowitz. Don't take chances.
Looking to transform your outdoor space? Look no further than Bama Sheds. As a family-owned and operated business, we understand your needs. That's why we offer no credit check rent-to-own options. Enjoy free delivery and setup within 35 miles of our 4 convenient locations. Whether you need a shed, pole barn, garage, or carport, we've got you covered. Visit our website at bamasheds.com or call 256-268-8484. Bama Sheds, where quality meets affordability and your outdoor dreams become reality.
Scorpion Race Cars, home of the Scorpion chassis in Phoenix City, Alabama, is your home for anything racing. From complete cars to any level of fabrication or repairs you need. We're a dealer for all the top brands of racing parts, fuel, and more. Need a complete setup? Give us a call today for your appointment. 334-448-0604. Scorpion Race Cars has over 50 years experience in the business. Find us on Facebook at Scorpion Race Cars or call us today. 334-448-0604.
The baddest street stocks on the planet return to Why Not in 2026. Don't miss the Southern Street Stock Nationals, featuring the Crate Racing USA Street Stocks in a must-see weekend. Over 200 plus entries 1 year ago, and entertainment all weekend long, including live music. It's the Southern Street Stock Nationals at Why Not Motorsports Park, August 12th through the 15th. It's a must-see weekend. Be there.
Can't make it to the track? Crate Racing USA TV has you covered. From live events to on-demand replays, Crate Racing USA TV is your go-to for everything Crate Racing USA. Watch from anywhere at any time. Simply visit crateраcingusa.tv and never miss a lap. Welcome back to Crate Racing USA Live. We have our special guest on the line, and I tell you what, you may see a lot of his work if you're going through the pit areas at a local dirt track, at a business, or as a matter of fact, now starting to see some of it on the NASCAR circuit around the racetracks in motorsports. Talking about the man behind MatMan Designs, Chad Harrington. Chad, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you calling me this morning and wanting me to join you for the show today.
Man, excited to kind of hear about this journey that has now become something that is well known. And, you know, I kind of think at first it was the dirt side of things that was well known, but now you've branched out, going to all forms of motorsports, all forms of business. And we talk about the company MatMan Designs. Chad, for the people who don't know the story, how did MatMan Designs first get started?
Well, MatMan didn't get started until 2023 because I finally quit working for other people to where I could do this and focus on it full time. But designing mats, I have actually been doing that since 2003. So it became a great segue into doing that with a race fan, and you walk around with all of these haulers and everything, and they don't have anything in there keeping the dust down, and that's where it got started.
And I know we always go back to the mats, but you guys as a company, you do so much more than that, right?
Yeah, I designed some race car wraps. We do banners, flags, pretty much anything for logos too. That's one of my passions, is just creating logos and everything for other people and other businesses and everything.
And obviously the racing background, which I think we're going to dive into in just a little bit. You go to doing this, and now you're starting to see your name in places. I mean, I've got to ask, did you think you would see your company on the NASCAR circuit as quickly as it's gotten there?
Well, we started that in 2019 with the previous company that I worked for, and we got hooked up with Jeremy because our company was based out of Spartanburg, even though I was still working in LaGrange, Georgia. So Jeremy was like 4 miles away from there, and he'll tell you he'd go to the campus, for Milliken campus and everything, and he would walk around and run on the campus and everything. So with that being said, it was an easy fix, a hometown Spartanburg boy getting some mats from the hometown company. And that's where the true inside part of where we started with NASCAR and everything that went with it to go with it. Everything's been building since 2016 when I first got a mat into a race hauler, all the way to that to get it in on the, what everybody would say, the premier side of motorsports, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely, and that's something that stands out to me, that it has branched off the way it has, and the products, Brandon Shepherd, Tyler Erb, Brandon Overton, and many more. I could go down that list as far as you would like to go on the dirt side, and being able to, there's got to be a little bit of pride in that too, right? I mean, you see your name stamped on almost all of these mats in these haulers and all the decal work you've got. There's got to be some pride in that.
There really is. Even before today, 2025, I was lucky enough to stand in victory lane with Ricky Thornton Jr. at the World 100, right? But my name's on the side of his car. They've got their mats and all of the Kohler Motorsports haulers. But just being in a sense of seeing all the cars, and then you say 28 of them started the World 100, and 25 of them actually go through me or one of my distributors to get mats from me, and they are in the cars. I mean, in those haulers of the starting field for the World 100, and then there's so many more that didn't even make the show.
That's super cool. We're talking with Chad Harrington from MatMan Designs. All right, so I'm going to go and ask the question right off the bat. Nicknames. I have seen both of these, Fish and MatMan. Where did those come from?
Holy cow. You brought up a big one with Fish, but that one comes all the way back from college, and Lord have mercy. I mean, as an assistant basketball coach and everything, everybody knew me as Fish at college, and it stuck for the longest time. And then, when I'm doing all this mat stuff, and all the people would start putting me in their phone as MatMan Chad or Chad the MatMan and everything. And Tyler English was the one that brought that to my attention. So when we started the company, MatMan just sort of fit. And now I'm called MatMan so much more than my real name, Chad. And it's just like kind of cool. It's the MatMan. So
that is indeed super cool. Of course, MatManDesigns.com. You can go there. You can check out all the products. You can get all the information you need if you would like to order some of Chad's products, everything there you need to know, plus some really cool pictures as well. Well, I was going to go into your story next, and we talked a little bit before we got started about the first time you were flagging, and I was kind of scratching my head when I was going to ask this question, but now that I know your age, the very first time you flagged, it totally makes sense now. So I read that you attended your first race at just 1 month old.
Yes, sir. I was born outside of Tacoma, Washington at the Army base. And when I was a month old, it was that 4th of July weekend race right there. And Spanaway, Washington actually had I think it was a 3/8 mile asphalt track and everything, and was able to go there. And my mom and dad, they said as long as the cars were out there, I was sleeping like a baby because of the engine noise. But as soon as it got quiet, I'd start screaming my head off like I was being murdered or something. But even the cooler part about that is, I got to actually be at a race that Herschel McGriff was at, and my dad went into the actual pits after the races and everything, and he was sponsored by Olympia Beer, so he had coolers, right? So my dad had a beer like everybody else, and you got to talk to Herschel and a lot of the other folks. I mean, it was back in the days where, everybody didn't haul tail to get out of there. at the end of the race. They just left their cars unloaded for 30, 45 minutes to an hour so everybody could come down and take a look at them and check them out. So needless to say, back in 1972, my dad actually had a beer with a future NASCAR Hall of Famer.
That is super cool. And now you say 1972, and if for anybody that's listening and doing the math, your first flagging job technically came in 1977. So that would have made you how old?
I was 5, and my uncle was the head flagman at the Troup County go-kart track here in LaGrange, Georgia, and we had a couple of other kids that raced the little Suzuki 50s and, around the thing on motorcycles. And it was kind of cool because that's where I learned how to flag, because I was flagging the guys that were my same age. It's just that I didn't have a motorcycle to go race on, but I wanted to be a flagman like my uncle and Harold Kinder, so.
And that's where the journey kind of takes you. I will ask, how do you go from the state of Washington down to the Peach State of Georgia?
Well, my whole family is actually from here, so it was kind of easy to come back home after I was born. My dad had to stay a little bit longer in the military until I was discharged because I was there. And I cost my mom and dad, I think I saw the receipt when we were cleaning out their house after they passed away. It was like $5.46 or 48 cents. It cost them for me to be born. And those were my mom's meals. I was basically free, but that was a hospital bill for that time.
Wow. A lot of things have changed since then, for sure. Well, the journey, we know you started flagging in 1977. You were 5 years old. Man, the list of racetracks that you have been able to flag at. I mean, tell the folks about some of those, some of the places that you've been able to stand in that flag stand and wave flags at.
You get started, you've done some places like Thunder Ridge for go-karts. Back in Valley, Alabama, I flagged at Penton for some special events, and East Alabama for the most part. I mean, I was basically the flagman from 2002 through the 2015 season, to where I flagged the National 100 and the Alabama State Championship. So I think that's the longest tenured consecutive year run of any flagman for those two events. I flagged at Talladega Short Track. I've been able to flag at Magnolia, Mississippi, Magnolia Speedway over in Columbus, Mississippi. Sorry. And that was a weekend of the first cotton picking 100. Which is kind of cool. Billy Moyer won that one, and, got to go when Monty Morrow was running North Georgia and Cleveland. I would go on Friday. I would just leave the house and go to North Georgia for Friday, stayed with Monty and his family, and flagged it. Cleveland Speedway, and I missed that one the most because it was a very unique place, and a lot of times I could flag a whole night up there and beat the people leaving from East Alabama Motor Speedway coming back to LaGrange that raced from there. So, but been able to flag at Sonoa both when it was red dirt and when they put the gumbo down, but I think the coolest ones recently were the last two that I flagged at, which were Rome and Dixie Speedway.
I was going to say, now that is where I remember the most seeing you there, being able to flag there. And of course, when stepping out of that flag stand at Dixie, something pretty cool that we see at these racetracks are these younger kids that have got these flag sets, these parents that have bought these kids the flag sets, and they stay there the whole time in the grandstands. And every time you move a flag, they're moving the same thing. And that's kind of from being in that flag stand. What did that mean to you to be able to see some of these kids that are in these grandstands. We've got kids that want to be the drivers. We've got kids that want to be announcers. But what did it mean to you to know that you could pass that torch and somebody was interested in what you were doing?
To me, at first, it was just a form of flattery, but the more that I did it throughout the years, and now that there's 3 or 4 guys that are actually flagging that are young that I've mentored, it makes it a lot more, because not only do you get to watch them mimic you, and then teach them and mentor them along the way with questions and stuff like that. It's a phenomenal joy to be able to get past where, you're that guy standing on the flag stand. And I have seen people at racetracks that they're the best in the world. They don't care. They don't care if anybody does whatever. They're there just to put whatever show on or be how lazy they want to be on there. But I mean, to me, the flagman puts on just as much of a show, and just by the way that he waves the flags, the enthusiasm. And if you can pass that off to the kids that want to, because you might have a handful, maybe 3, 4, or 5 over the course of a 2 or 3 year period that might want to do it. But the rest of them in there wants to be either a race car driver or a car owner, not a flagman.
Very true. Well, we're talking with Chad Harrington from MatMan Designs. We're talking about how his career has kind of put him to where he is now. And that was kind of where I was going with the next part of the story. So we look to where the flagging and being around motorsports, and now MatMan Designs. When you look at those, does being on that flag stand and being able to be a part of this motorsports world before you get to where you are now, do you think it played a big factor in, the customer service side of things and how you do things now?
Well, it's definitely made it easier to talk to the drivers and the car owners, right? Because a lot of them already knew who I was from the different racetracks. Not always does it equate to customer service, because 90 times out of 100, you get, if they're wanting to talk to you as a flagman, it ain't to tell you did a good job. It's because they're coming after you for screwing something up. So, I guess you can say the customer service side, you definitely learn on a different level.
Indeed, and a lot of great relationships along the way. Is there some of those moments that when you look at flagging those races, I know you talked about the Cleveland Speedway and how special it was, and you mentioned the National 100 and the state races. Long time in those flag stands for those 2 weekends for multiple years, I'm sure you could say. But is there a couple of moments that stand out that in your flagging career that you could say that, man, these were super cool moments that you can remember?
Being that, a fan of the Tampa shootout, with Dixie Speedway and everything, the year that I finally got to flag a shootout race was definitely one of those. The first gobbler, at Cleveland, it meant a lot to be able to be part of that history. But the biggest parts to me is some of the guys that I have been able to wave the checkered flag for coming off of turn 4 and being fans of theirs from being a kid all the way up to even now, right? Because I even flagged a lot and race directed Atlanta Motor Speedway for Legends and Bandoleros. So there are people that are in NASCAR now that I have waved checkered flags over on that little quarter mile that are all the way at the echelon of the top. And me and Donald Bradsher, I had shared a photo with him earlier yesterday, and then he come back and he said, "Did you see Tyler in there?" And he was referring to Tyler Reddick because it was like 2011 or 2012 when he made a start in the National 100, and they had the old drivers line up on the stage. And, Tyler still speaks to me even in the Cup garage, just because I was one of those guys that he saw on occasion, and I would stop and talk to him while he was still a youngster before he even got to NASCAR. And those kind of things are what I would consider very cool. And there's not just Tyler. I mean, there's a bunch of them, right? It's too many to name, really.
Yeah, and that was the crazy thing for me, that, when he took the checkered flag in the Daytona 500, a lot of social media went crazy. But then there was a lot of the world that didn't realize that, Tyler has a lot of experience on dirt, and you're kind of starting to see the dirt side of things really pay off for some of these NASCAR drivers. And it's really been pretty cool to see some of these names that, that did go to the dirt side of things and get as popular as they have become. So it's kind of, in a way, I look at that, it's kind of like the retro style, the old days of racing. Everything was on dirt. You had the old moonshine runs, and then everything kind of shifted to the asphalt world. And it's kind of, in a way, you're kind of getting a little of that back, which I think is pretty cool, that you've got these drivers that are coming from the dirt side that can climb that ladder of success and go as far up as Tyler now. And, hey, he's right now, knock on wood, he's having the best season of his career right now.
Yeah, he's definitely in his prime, I would say, and he's definitely hot as a driver right now with everything that he's working on.
Well, I read a story that Todd Stevens once told you. He said, "Boy, you can design, but how do you expect me to get this to print on paper?" How much did that moment kind of shape the approach to you when it comes to designing?
I went from being a designer that designed stuff that was very intricate and hard to do, to being one of the guys that you can do the same thing, but I learned 7 or 8 different ways to make it so much simpler, so that it makes it to where you can put it on paper, or you can do what you need to do, and it doesn't have to be as complicated as it is.
Being a designer, I've got to ask this question. Of course, you've been doing this now for a little while. Do you still get those designs that come to you and you just kind of scratch your head thinking, how am I going to do this? Do you still get those, or have you done it now for so long you kind of have that idea of where you're going to go once somebody maybe turns in an order?
A lot of times you see it as a simple or medium complexity, and I can already see how I'm going to lay it out in layers. Then you get some that you work on, and it's like, what was this person thinking when they designed it? Because you'll get the vector artwork, and then next thing you know, they got gradients in there in the background, but they did the gradient as a photograph in Photoshop, and then they embedded it, and that photo, that little bitty photo that they put in there to get that gradient, well, I mean, 6 ways to 8 ways to do it differently, right? You unmask everything and figure out where that gradient starts and ends, and group everything together, make one compound path, and then you just put the gradient in there and you get rid of all that JPEGs, and next thing you know, you've taken a file that could have been 15 or 20 megabytes down to 2 megabytes. So it's much easier to work with.
That's something I notice a lot of designers, everybody that doesn't get into that designer world of the graphics. Hey, any photo you got, it can be from the 80s. Why can't you just make this work? Why can't you just make this work? Right.
Yeah. Well, why not? It shouldn't take you that long to change it either. It's like, no, you do not understand, it's, and it's very hard to explain. Anytime a customer sends in artwork like that, sometimes it's best to say, I can work with that, and just take a little extra time to make sure that you get it designed as close to that as possible. And there's other times that they swear that they're sending certain files, and then I have to take screenshots and show them the difference between a rasterized image versus a vector image, and show them the difference so that they can understand what I mean by certain things. And I've had a lot of designers that I've even tutored over the course of time because they were sending in stuff to me and they were designing it for somebody else. And I've had to help them grow as a designer as well, so that when they send me stuff, I get better stuff from them.
Yeah, and that helps you getting them where they need to be. Definitely helps your side of things and your process going forward, right?
Most definitely, because if you can get vector artwork to be on the beginning, of course, sometimes you do have to put some stuff in there with photographs and whatnot. But if people would only learn to go to their Apple or, their, what's that other phone?
Android.
The Android, and set their camera for the highest possible setting, right? No matter what, you can work with those, because those are going to be really high photographs compared to what you could do with a camera, unless you're getting a Nikon and you're getting a dedicated lens at 400 millimeters and whatnot, so that you can take photos like some of these guys like Josh James and does. And you're not going to get the quality, but it's usable quality. And especially when you're putting it on a mat, because a mat is a 3-dimensional surface, and you're not going to get everything to print the right way anyway, because you're printing on a fiber and the dye goes down the fiber and then it pools at the bottom. So there is some color blending that happens on the bottom edge of it, and it distorts the photograph a little bit, makes it a little blurry, but that's just part of the nature of printing on carpet versus a wrap or a banner or a billboard.
We're talking with Chad Harrington from MatMan Designs. Well, I've enjoyed chatting with you. I know we've got some folks out there that are hearing this, and I know we've got some folks that have seen your work and what all you've got going on. If there's somebody listening and they need some product, what do they need to do?
They can go to Facebook and use Messenger and message us directly through there, or they can go to the website and use the contact us page, and it'll send us an email, and then we can get back with you via phone call or whatnot. Or, you can just send an email to us at ineedmats@matmandesigns.com, or just pick up the phone and call us 706-957-1069.
Well, Chad, we appreciate it. Of course, for the folks that come out to our Crate Racing USA Dirt Late Model Series events, they see our series trailer. They see the MatMan designs in the trailer. I know we handed out those rugs last year to the champions. We appreciate your work. We appreciate everything you do, and definitely glad to chat with you.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and want to spotlight a sponsor instead of a driver for once or twice. That's kind of cool just to be included into it, because, it's not always the drivers that make the show go round.
Indeed, that is very, very true. Well, Chad, we appreciate you letting us have a little bit of time. I know you're busy, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you at a racetrack soon, and definitely looking forward to seeing the new products that are going to be out soon.
All right. Thank you very much. Y'all have a great day, Cody.
Thanks, Chad. Indeed, coming up, we will get ready to take a look at what's coming up this weekend. Week number 12 of the National Points. We'll take a look at that, and we'll wrap up the show on the way. You're listening to Crate Racing USA Live.
Crate Racing USA Live will return after this commercial break.
Feel the thunder. Experience the heart-pounding action of Crate Racing USA from dirt tracks across the South. Catch every lap, every pass,
3 wide, just momentarily for the
every victory with Crate Racing USA TV.
The modified main event on this Friday night.
Watch live events or dive into on-demand replays anytime. Whether it's a single night shootout or a full weekend of racing, you're in control. Never miss a moment. Watch from anywhere. Visit CrateRacinUSA.tv now for upcoming events and full race replays. Crate Racing USA TV, America's leader in racing.
When performance matters, champions choose Hoosier Racing Tires. As the largest race tire manufacturer in the world, Hoosier produces over 1,000 different types of race tires, engineered for speed, precision, and winning results. With cutting-edge technology like a 300-mile-per-hour test wheel, a state-of-the-art production facility, and advanced mixing plant, Hoosier continues to lead the way in racing innovation worldwide. Hoosier Racing Tires. We fuel passion, pride, and success with our tires designed for champions. Order today at HoosierTire.com or call 574-784-3152. Hoosier Racing Tires. Tires designed for champions.
Racers are dedicated to winning. And Chevrolet Performance's 3 factory-sealed circle track crate engines can help you get to the checkered flag first. Whether you're a weekend warrior or a touring hero, on dirt or pavement, Chevrolet Performance circle track crate engines are engineered to win. Right out of the box.
Welcome to the My Race Pass app, the #1 app for motorsports fans. We want to make sure you get the most out of your My Race Pass app experience. With your new free account, you can use the My Race Pass app to see race day information, including event entries and official lineups and results for over 600 organizations across North America. You can also see track information and purchase online event tickets for select tracks. With your free account, you can also search for a track or series on the My Race Pass app and favorite their profile to receive news and race day notifications on your mobile device. To see more information and to see which app subscription is best for you, be sure to visit getmrpapp.com. My Race Pass, the ultimate racing resource.
Rogers Dabbs Performance Parts, based in Brandon, Mississippi, continues to power racers across the Deep South with top-quality Chevrolet performance product. Known as the go-to dealer for reliability and performance, Rogers Dabbs guarantees the lowest prices on 602, 604s, and 525 engines. Get your digital catalog today for free at rdc123.com. That's rdc123.com. Welcome back to Crate Racing USA Live, our last segment here on episode number 8. Crazy to think we're closing in on our 10th episode. Won't be long, we'll be doing that. But man, what a weekend of racing. I know Mother Nature has literally wreaked havoc the last 2 weeks, but week 12 of national competition, with our fingers crossed, could be one of the busiest race weekends we've had so far in 2026. Let's start on Friday night. Baton Rouge Raceway in Baton Rouge, Louisiana will have weekly competition. Cedar Ridge Speedway in Morgantown, Kentucky will have weekly racing. The Deep South Speedway in Loxley, Alabama, it's the Forever 51 weekend. Remember, that was originally back May 1st and 2nd. Mother Nature postponed it. It will be this weekend with a huge weekend of racing down at Deep South. Hattiesburg Speedway will have weekly competition down in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. The North Alabama Speedway will have the Factory Stock Showdown, along with weekly racing in Tuscumbia, Alabama. You can watch that live on Crate Racing USA TV. Southern Raceway down in Milton will welcome the USCS Sprint Cars for 2 nights of racing. Friday night's performance, you can watch, of course, on huntthefront.tv, but it will be just the Sprint Cars on Friday night, along with some other local divisions. Waycross Motor Speedway will have the Showdown at the Swamp. The Southern Thunder Super Dirt Series will be in action. You can watch that on huntthefront.tv as well. On Saturday night, the Cottonwood Speedway, they will have the Remembrance 100, a big 1,000 to win for the Crate Racing USA Late Model Sportsman, and a lot of great divisions as they are honoring the Memorial Day weekend this weekend, with that big weekend of racing coming up next weekend. East Alabama Motor Speedway will have the topless outlaw late models in town in, of course, Phoenix City, plus the 604s, the Crate Racing USA Dirt Late Models, and the Crate Racing USA Late Model Sportsman. The Hendry County Motorsports Park down in Cluess, Galveston, Florida, will have the 3rd annual Karen Johnston Memorial. It's a $2,000 to win for the CRUSA late models this weekend. Jackson Motor Speedway in Byram, Mississippi will have weekly racing with all CRUSA divisions in action. The Needmore Speedway Park gets back in work action this weekend with the 7th annual Gene Main Memorial. The Southern Thunder Super Dirt Series, Waycross Friday, Needmore on Saturday night. That will be on huntthefront.tv. The Pine Ridge Speedway in Guntown, Mississippi will have weekly racing. You can catch that on Crate Racing USA TV. And the Southern Raceway in Milton, night number 2 of the USCS Sprint Cars. But it's also round 3 of the Late Model Challenge. Can J.C. Wilson go out and win another one? We'll find out Saturday night. Can't make it to the track? You can watch it on huntthefront.tv. Super B Speedway in Louisiana will have weekly competition this weekend. The Swainsboro Raceway gets back underway Saturday night with a night of weekly racing. Whiteout Motorsports Park welcomes the Rogers Dabbs Performance Parts Crate Racing USA Late Model Sportsman Tour for a $2,000 to win on Saturday night. That race as well will be live on CRUSA TV. Also, Windy Hollow Speedway. Of course, our guest earlier, Blake Smith, talked about the Slingin Dirt Super Late Models will be there. And, of course, the Crate Racing USA Street Stocks will be in action, too. And Extreme Speedway in Moulton, Alabama will wrap up the racing weekend with a weekly racing program on Saturday night. I wasn't kidding you when I said it's a busy weekend. And week 12 of National Points competition may see one of the busiest race weekends we have seen so far in 2026. Of course, all the action, well, you can watch most of it this weekend on Crate Racing USA TV. Also, our friends at Hunt the Front TV will have racing as well. So a full slate of competition all across the South and across all of the sanctioned Crate Racing USA tracks. If your track would like to be sanctioned by Crate Racing USA, you can, of course, reach out to Adam Stewart or Chance Smith. Visit CrateRacingUSA.com to get more details and join the now 30 tracks across the Southeast and up into the bluegrass state of Kentucky as a part of the Crate Racing USA banner. Once again, Whiteout Motorsports Park coming up Saturday night, $2,000 to win, round number 2 for the Rogers Dabbs Performance Parts Late Model Sportsman Tour. It is the second race of the 2026 campaign. You can watch that if you can't make it down to the House of Hook on Saturday night on Crate Racing USA TV. Well, that is going to do it. I got to say a big thank you to our guest tonight, Blake Smith from Windy Hollow Speedway. We want to thank him for joining us. The MatMan Designs, the MatMan himself, Chad Harrington, also joined us tonight on this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for supporting. Always ask, make sure you hit the like button, hit the share button, and most importantly, on Spotify, YouTube, and now on Crate Racing USA TV, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm out of here. I hope you have a great weekend, and we will talk to you next week right here on Crate Racing USA Live.
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of Crate Racing USA. Crate Racing USA would like to thank our fans for their support, and we hope you enjoyed this broadcast.